What's going on, you guys? Welcome back to Tay Talks and Tarot. We're going to dive right on in. I've already invited in my highest level light guides, my angels and divine ancestors of the Most High. I've already set my tone, quieted my mind. So let's get it popping. Let's see what's going on for the energy of the present moment. And it's saying, as we got last week, be devoted and committed. Be devoted and committed. Whatever that means for you guys, be devoted and committed. I can share with you, for me, I started a new health routine this week. I'm so excited about. So for me, I take this message as a message of be devoted and committed to what I have started, right? So anything it comes to mind, the first thing that comes to mind is what that's asking you to be devoted and committed to. Okay. Any more messages from the angels and ancestors deck? Okay. The same cards are coming out as last week, guys. Become the master. Okay. It's asking you to become the master. Okay. Be graceful in movement and action. So some of you guys may be getting tested by the universe, right? Because it's time for you to come into mastery here. Okay. So you may be getting little tests and trials and things like that you need to pass, right? Whatever that is for you is asking you to become the master. Any more? Oh, okay. Well, all right. It came out together. The angels and divine ancestors are speaking. We got the hunter here and the lady, right? Track down your fears and desires. So it's asking you to go deep. Okay. This is soul level healing here. Track down your fears and desires and transmute them, guys, by becoming the master. Okay. So you're tracking down your fears and desires is going into the self and doing the shadow work. That's what I'm getting here, and becoming the master of that, right? So you're transmuting them. And as you do that, you will enjoy the fruits of your labor here, right? So I feel like some of you guys are breaking generational curses, bad habits, and things of that nature. And that's why be devoted and committed is coming out as well. Continue on your soul's journey, right? Being devoted and committed. Become the master. Okay. Only you know what that journey is for you, right? And the answer right here for some of you is tracking down your fears and desires. Going into the shadow work for your fears and then transmuting that so that you can have the desires here. Okay. So that you can have the desires of your heart, right? Don't be fearful, right? Too much to a degree where you can't manifest those desires. Okay. That's for someone. And then you will enjoy the fruits of your labor here. Okay. With your reaping and sowing. That's the reaping and sowing card. So the lady is coming into your life, right? And that's a metaphor, guys. So it's saying the energy is coming to give you rewards. Just do rewards for your growth, okay? As you enjoy your growth. Any last messages, angels and divine ancestors of the Most High, before we get into the message for this evening? It's kind of like I've been liking to get, messages from them before I get into the messages the reading. I wanted to do a love reading tonight. So Father Sky is coming out in reverse and saying trust in the unknown. So maybe by just coming out in the reverse, also with the Earth Guardian saying stay rooted and grounded. And this cards came out last week, guys. Okay, the same exact cards. So the energy is definitely the same. There's some type of soul level mastery happening here for some of you guys. It's still in that we're still in that energy of changing and shifting timelines. So you're being asked to trust the process, trust in the unknown that's happening here, and stay rooted and grounded here. Okay, this came out together. So what I'm getting basically is your work is to stay rooted and grounded here. That's your work, right? and then trust in the unknown. As you stay rooted and grounded, right? This is your work. That's what you're supposed to do. Then the universe is going to do the rest, right? And you're going to simultaneously, by being devoted, become the master, okay? Mastery of self mastery here. By tracking down your fears and desires, you can do that a lot by just going within, staying rooted and grounded, meditating, right? It will allow you to track down the fears and the desires, right? And then, bam, you will reap rewards. That's a beautiful message. And it's a double message, okay? Because it came out last week. So the same message is what it's saying here, right? They are saying the exact same thing. And bam, confirmation on the bottom of the deck, Hermit, confirmation. As you go within, okay? Getting quiet in the mind, stay rooted and grounded, right? The sky is the limit. You will be healing, becoming the master, okay, of talking to myself too, okay, of whatever trials and tribulations that are coming your way. You will, as you stay devoted and committed, you will pass these tests. You will conquer these fears here. Tap into your desires, okay? So as you continue to heal, you'll also be getting probably creative downloads or whatever your desires are, telling you which way to go. Trust the process here, trust in the unknown, right? And you're becoming the master. And as you stay rooted and grounded, you will get rewards. That's what they're saying here. You will get rewards as you stay committed. Okay. So that's a beautiful message, guys. Thank you, my loving angels, ancestors of the Most High. Okay. Let's get into it really quick and see what's going on with the love energy, guys. I've been wanting to tap in because the energy on the main stage has been crazy. Okay. So I've been wanting to see what's going on as it relates to these love relationships because there's so many things going on the main stage with relationships. Man. Okay. And in the individual lives of you guys, because man, I've been hearing so much going on. It's crazy. So I said, let me get in to the love reading and see what's going on. Any messages from the Awakened Path Tarot? Any messages from the Awakened Path Tarot for the Divine Collective that I'm talking to? Okay. The Fool card came out in reverse. Okay. The Fool card came out in reverse. Interesting. And so that basically, the Fool card is basically in the upright is about trusting in the unknown, right? And being the fool, taking the leaps of faith, being adventurous. But in reverse, there's a little bit of hesitancy energy here about not doing that, taking the leaps of faith, not being adventurous, okay? Not having that sense of freedom, so that fear is there, right? Let's go deeper. Let's see what's going on. Any more messages from the Awakened Path Tarot? Any more messages as it relates to love and relationships? What is going on with the collective in this love and relationship energy here? Because there's so many of the same storylines are happening to so many people, guys. So that's what made me want to do a love and relationship reading. I know that there's spiritually something going on spiritually. Let me get my other deck. It's the splitting of the timeline shifts. So a lot of these people you can't take with you, guys. Oh wait, I left a card in here. Let me shuffle again then. That great split is happening, and if people are not in alignment with you guys, they will automatically have to fall out of your experience. Okay. But let's go deeper and see what the guides have to say. Man, That one card made a difference because now they're speaking from the deck. Okay, Two of Wands in reverse, the planning. Okay, Two of Wands is about planning and choosing a path, right? But it was in reverse, right? So it makes sense because that Fool in reverse is talking about not being adventurous, not going out into the unknown and um, taking those risks, right? Um, but suggesting a little bit of reservation there, right? I'm trying to figure out why let me see, my little, oh, it's not out. It's just about to go out. Sorry. I like when my candles be lit. Okay. I be needing um, a little bit more light around me, just for, not just for just the purpose of having candle, but it's because it represents my guides. So I really like a lot of candles lit, sage y'all, around me. Do represent divinity for me. Okay. Let's see. Back to the reading. Got distracted. Sorry. Okay, so yeah, the Fool in reverse, talking about being hesitant of not moving forward, and the planning at a standstill, right? Planning, choosing a path, all that is in the reverse. So there was a halt here. And then the Two of Cups is the soulmate, the unity, okay? The close bonds, the spiritual connections. So, like I said, this is spiritual, right? So, as I said, this is not personal, this is spiritual. There has been a disturbance in the plans here. We're not moving forward, and this is a spiritual connection, okay? These are spiritual connections, okay? Tell me more. Why aren't we moving forward? Why is there so much chaos in the relationship dynamic? Can you tell me more here? Knight of Swords. Bam. And that's why. Okay. That is why. A knight to me represents fly by night energy. Knights are they're assertive, okay, but they're also they're not mastering themselves, right? They're not, see, they talk about being impatient. They're like more like the energy of immaturity, you know. That's that one night stand type of energy to me, you know, when you're talking about the knights, right? They're daring. See, they're talking about that they have ambitious and they're motivated, right? They're assertive, but they're also impatient and they're daring. So they will do anything. Okay. That's that, to me, that's that energy that you can't fully trust, right? And so this is why the the Fool and the Two of Wands are in reverse. There was a halt in the spiritual dynamic because the masculine, and I'm just saying masculine because there's a masculine here on the card, right? It could be feminines as well, but there's on the main stage, guys, and on individual homes and energies around me that I'm hearing about, right? Because I'm a reader. There is a lot of masculines that have either decided to go their own way or being tricked out of their spot because they haven't been, well, when I say being tricked out of their spot, because they were in a soulmate, a spiritual divine connection here with this Two of Cups. That's why I'm saying that. But they were, they're still been sitting in a very immature energy here. So they're not ready, basically, for the divine feminine. Okay, they're not ready. Tell me more about the energy. That's basically what it is. I feel like that's what it is. There was a standstill. There was a halt, right, in the connection because the energy here in the Knight of Swords, they weren't ready. They're not ready for what suspended. Lack of direction, the Hanged Man. Pause. Okay. Lack of direction, immature, not really knowing what they really want, right? They're immature. This Knight of Swords energy is one night stand energy to me, right? Okay. Um, they are selfish energy. They sacrifice, they're all up in their heads. Okay. They are selfish. So I feel like that's an energy of they'll sacrifice anything for whatever, lack of direction, just and bam. And here's the energy here, the Queen of Swords, right? So you got the Knight of Swords and you got the Queen of Swords. The Queen of Swords is an opposite of the Knight of Swords, right? The Knight is impatient. The Queen is she's fair. She's independent. She's honest. The Knight of Swords is childish, okay? The Queen, and I mean, they're assertive, but they're immature. They pop off, right? They pop off, so they may be like they're reactive instead of responsive, right? The Queen of Swords, she's evolved into a space of independency. So she will cut you off in a minute. Like, she's cutthroat. So she's like, I don't need this childish energy around me. When I'm honest and doing me, right? I'm an honest person, so I deserve an honest counterpart, right? Two of Cups, right? But that's not what I have. So bam, cutthroat. I'm done. Okay. So what it's suggesting is the pause was from the Queen of Swords here, right? The lack of planning and direction and the suspension energy around the relationship here is because there was one immature energy and one energy that was ready for a divine connection, a loyal mate, right? Monogamy, commitment, all of the things. That's what the Queen of Swords was ready for, but the Knight of Swords is not, right? They're daring. They will do anything, right? They're impatient. Okay. Queen of Swords standing 10 toes down on character and maturity, and being that independent energy shows you that the Queen of Swords is mature, right? Being the Knight of Swords energy, impatient, shows that they're not mature in their emotions here, right? So being a lack of maturity in your emotions may cause a lack of maturity in your decisions, right? Does that make sense? So now you have the Hangman here. There's a waiting game. There's a lack of direction, right? Suspension. And then the Queen of Swords is like, bam, cutthroat. No, I'm done. I cut you off. So that's why the relationship dynamic is what it is. The Divine Feminines are done. They've had enough. The Queen of Swords want to hit it and quit it and do everything, but commit, right? I mean, the Knight of Swords. Did I say King? The Knight of Swords wants to do everything but commit because they're still impatient and immature. So that's why the divine connection pretty much was cut off. The divine connection, this was a spiritual divine connection, guys. However, was this connection, I feel like this was for a deeper meaning. Let's see what the meaning was, okay? Not just that the divine masculines, or change the roles, guys. There may be some masculines that were actually standing 10 toes down, and then they had to dump these feminines that weren't ready, right? So, but I feel like this was for a deeper reason. Is there any other reason? Baby, I'm done. And the reading is done. Okay? Because I'll be doggone if it ain't. The Wheel of Fortune and the Judgment coming out together. Y'all saw that. The Wheel of Fortune, and the Judgment coming out together. The reading is done. The divine has stepped in. Period. It's Judgment Day with this 2 on here balancing the scales. right? It's Judgment Day and the Wheel of Fortune came out. So, baby, what that's saying is the cycles have, baby, ceased and deceased, okay? They're done. The cycle of that tug of war energy from that Knight of Swords to the Queen of Swords, right? That battle back and forth trying to get these uh immature energies, whether it's male or female, to do right by them, right? They're done. They're setting boundaries, drawing their sword in the sand, and like, bye, Felicia. Okay, bye, Felix. We're done. Okay, and the Judgment card here is the wake up call, right? The reflection, the reckoning. Okay, the divine has stepped in. The divine feminine on the main stage is knowing her worth and value here. That's why she's cutting people off, and she's cutthroat because she knows she is a person of integrity here, right? She has high value and she's realizing that with her awakening here. Okay? So like I said in the videos prior to, the divine feminine has risen, right? I think I just posted that card and put the song on there. Megan Thee Stallion, baby, Blessing and a Curse song. If y'all haven't heard that song, and I know y'all did because I'm the latecomer, the lyrics be lyricking, okay, if that's the word. And baby, I got that Queen of Swords energy for that particular day, and that was the perfect song. Okay, a blessing and a curse. So the divine feminines have had enough, right? They're waking up by way of the divine. The divine has woken them up, okay, with this Judgment and Wheel of Fortune card here. This is fated, okay? Fate means inevitable, okay? This is fated. This is the divine. The number 10 is the reset point. The cycle is over. There is a new cycle happening here. The divine feminine has had enough, right? So divine feminine has fated positive changes coming in by way of judgment. We don't know what's going on with the masculine energy here by them responding, or should I say reacting, the way that they are reacting here, right? And it's kind of like, I don't know, it's just kind of like a coincidence that it's not a coincidence. It's really not, that I had the Queen of Swords card out, guys, with Megan Thee Stallion's Megan Thee Stallion. Why I keep saying D? The Stallion's her song on the Blessing and a Curse on that card. And then I find out today on TikTok that Clay cheated on Megan. Right? So what's really going on? Okay. What's really going on is the collective energies is as such, right? There is a standstill in planning, a halting energy, a suspended energy, a waiting game here, right? As it relates to the love and relationship dynamic. Thank you, my divine highest loving light guides. Thank you, angels and divine ancestors. I asked for a love reading. I wanted to know what was going on with the collective energy being as it is. And you guys have always delivered the messages like nobody's business. Okay. The soulmate connection was interrupted. Okay. By the divine. Yep. By the divine. It's Judgment Day. It's Judgment Day. The Wheel of Fortune is here. The Judgment card is here. The Queen of Swords is not getting what she deserves because they're still playing in immature energy. So the divine has stepped in to break all that foolishness up, right? And bam, it is what it is. It's karmic justice. It's fated here. Okay. So let's find out what else we need to know. I feel like let me go to my love oracle deck and see if I need to get any clarity from here. I'm done. I'm done. I'm just doing this for y'all because it's fated. So it is what it is. It's the The divine has stepped in and put all that to a halt. So, bam. And ain't that something? Unexpected. And unexpected came out in reverse, guys. So I'm getting that um it was it was I feel like for some of you it wasn't unexpected. For some of you, you were just ignoring it, right? And you didn't set your boundaries. But some of you were fully warned, right? I mean, I get dreams. So some of you may have gotten messages from the Most High, from your spirit team, but you ignored it because it came out in reverse. It was not unexpected to you. You knew what was happening around you. Okay. A lot of feminines already have automatic intuition, right? We just have to learn how to listen to that intuition and not be blindsided, right? So if this was in the upright, it would say surprise, shocks, unpredictable, unusual, but absolutely not. You knew what you were dealing with, right? You were dealing with the hot and cold energy, the mood swings, right? You were dealing with the immaturity of the impulsive, impatient Knight of Swords here. That's what you were dealing with, right? You were dealing with the anytime something pop off, the Knight of Swords go what? You see the back of their heads. They out. Okay. And the divine feminines are done here. They're done. That's a wrap. So the divine feminine, some of y'all got y'all Knight of Swords in the Hangman, waiting, waiting. Period. And that came out last week, or was it the week before last? Third party came out in reverse just now. Okay, it just came out in reverse, but baby, this is why a lot of this energy was broken up. And I said that in the reading last week or so. So it's the same scenario, but it's happening, guys. Third party in reverse, interference, cheating, competition, and mistress. Why is the third party in reverse though? Because some of that is definitely the answer. So what I'm getting, unexpected, you knew about the third party, right? Or you knew that your Knight of Swords was doing something that they didn't have any business doing and invited a third party in on your union. Now, why the third party is in reverse, I don't know. But it was fated for the third party to come in and test your union here. That's what I'm getting. And I'm getting that from the big energy on the main stage too, because it's happening to a collective of women at the same time. And maybe a few men, right? So it was fated to test your union, right? And unfortunately, a lot of masculine energies have failed the test, right? And went with the third party here. Any more messages from this deck? I'm going to go ahead and close out the reading because it's done. The reading is done. We already see what's happening here. The third party, we got travel came out in reverse and we got relationship came out in reverse. Okay. So the reversals to me doesn't always have to be in reverse, right? You knew it. It wasn't unexpected, right? But you ignored it. The third party, and maybe you ignored the third party here is what I'm getting. Or the energy of the third party. Maybe you ignored that. And then some of you probably your Knight of Swords probably did this actually traveling here. That's in reverse. This travel card came out in reverse, right? And then the relationship card came out in reverse. So maybe they got into a relationship while they were traveling here, or met up with a third party while they were traveling. And then maybe it's in reverse because they're not even together anymore. Maybe that's the situation, right? But it's definitely your union was your soulmate union and connection. The divine came in to call judgment on it, and bam, we're done. Yeah, that's what it is. Now your masculine is in regret. Yeah. So they're no longer interested. Maybe they're still hanging around the third party, but they're no longer interested, or maybe they're not because the third party came out in reverse and so did relationship. So maybe that's why it came out in reverse. Um, but because they're in regret now for losing you, because they realize that it was not a true union, it was false. But by this judgment, and I feel like I lost my mic. I gotta plug up my mic, y'all. My mics went out. But to wrap it up, I had to take my microphone off. But to wrap up the reading, the judgment and wheel of fortune here, this was a fated disruption. Okay, the divine came in and interrupted this scenario to because the divine feminine was being played with that Knight of Swords energy, and she didn't set her boundaries. She didn't pay attention and trust her gut here, and so now it just looks like. And also, I'm just getting the travel card in reverse because you're traveling nowhere now. That relationship is done with the relationship card in reverse as well. So that relationship with you and also with the third party here is going nowhere here because fate has stepped in, judgment is being called, and now they're sitting in regret. And that's my reading, guys. We're done here. It's unfortunate that you had a soul connection and they weren't mature enough to continue on in the connection with you. So the universe tested that energy to see if they were, worthy of you, if they were going to grow with you. And no, they did not. But you are now standing 10 toes down on business. You're not dealing with it anymore. And so now that's a wrap for you. Okay. And then it looks like that's a wrap for them too, because it looks like their connection is no longer a connection with the third party because those cards came out in reverse and now they're sitting in regret. So yeah, that's a wrap for them too. And then on the bottom of the deck, you got change, and change came out in reverse. So the universe was asking the masculines to change here. They chose not to change, okay? They chose to not do the work. They chose to fail the test. And so that's why change came out in reverse. And they're sitting right here in regret energy, okay? And you're out of there. You are cutthroat. You're done. You have left the building here, okay? And now, by way of judgment and the wheel of fortune, fate is about to step in, or it already has, right? The new cycle is beginning for both the feminine and the masculine, however that may look, to be continued. That's a wrap. Judgment is here, okay? Growth, metamorphosis, cycles, regeneration. Yeah, change. Change was not had here. Change came out in reverse. So that's a wrap. And that's the message for the divine unions. Unfortunately, those divine unions, those soulmate connections, a lot of them did not make it. All right. So change is happening. The cycle is changing. And divine feminines and masculines are now about to step into the fate. And whatever that fate is, to be continued. All right. So I will see you guys next time on Tay Talks and Tarot, y'all. Peace. Spread some love.